Welcome to Faith in 5, a weekly video devotional designed to discuss practical spiritual concepts in 5 minutes or less. I'm your host, Mark Vandella. I was catching up with a friend of mine, Ben, and he shared with me that when we first met, or really before we met, he had watched me. He had observed the way I behave, and he had he admitted, I mapped you onto everybody else who was in ministry. And he said, so I had this kind of bad taste in my mouth before I even met you. I thought I knew what I would expect. I thought I knew exactly who you were and how you would treat me if we ever had a chance to meet. And he said, I was thankfully, and will pat me on the back, he said, thankfully when I met you, you were totally different, and it changed my perspective of you. But he said it almost prevented me from really developing this friendship that we now have. And if we're honest, I think that we all have difficult relationships. We all have people in our lives that are either like the perception is that they're very difficult or that they are actually really difficult. And my friend Ben and I actually have a great relationship in terms of I think actually because of that difficulty to start with, we are pretty honest with each other. We're open. When one of us is kind of being dumb, we'll say something to the other person. Without that initial kind of, I don't know about you start, we may not have broken through and developed a better relationship. I would say that we were able to redeem a broken lens through which one of us saw the other. If we're also honest, not only are there difficult people in our lives, we are also difficult in other people's lives. It's just, the world works that way. We don't agree with everybody. I'm wrong in other people's eyes, and they're wrong in my eyes. And yet, we were designed to be connected to other people. We were designed to be interacting with people who are like us, who make us better and stronger and come alongside us, encourage us. But also, God consistently challenges us and pushes us into going to places where maybe we're less comfortable. Interacting with people who are not like us, helping people who need help, people who are wrong, who do bad things. God says, go there. And so in our With series, where we're talking about the people in our lives, or even the people that are far away from us and not in our lives, how would we do this life with them? And today's title is called I'm With Stupid, because we have difficult people in our lives. And we kind of want to know, how do we navigate those difficult people? So even from an early age, there's playground bullies, there's neighborhood bullies, there's teachers that are difficult. Sometimes our parents are difficult, sometimes our kids are difficult to us. And as we grow up, there's friends, there's relationships, there's marriages, there's coworkers, there's bosses, all that stuff. We're always surrounded with difficult people. And the Bible asks us to do something kind of counterintuitive, at least initially. In Luke 6:42, the Bible says it's easy to see a smudge on your neighbor's face and be oblivious to the ugly sneer on your own. Do you have the nerve to say, let me wash your face for you, when your own face may have a distortion of contempt? It's this I know better than you mentality. That instead of playing that part, what if we wiped the ugly sneer off of our face first? What if we took responsibility for our part, our role in this difficulty? Why is this relationship difficult? Why is that person difficult for me to interact with? Thankfully, my friend Ben did that. He was able to say, I'm going to actually give Mark the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to try to spend time with him and see what's really here. And if he continues to be a difficult person, or if he does behave exactly how I expect him to, then I'll maybe choose something else. But at least I'm going to wipe the smudge off of my face first and go see. So the first thing we need to do in our faith is kind of examine ourselves. What's the role in our lives that we could play? And the one way that I like to think about that is, how can we redeem a relationship? If there's difficulty, if there's brokenness, let's own our part of it first, and then go to work on restoring that relationship or stepping into that relationship. So the first thing in our faith to do when we're with difficult people is to figure out what's our place, how might we redeem it. And then the second thing is, the honest truth is also, some people are just difficult. Some people are not good for us. Some people hurt us. Some people tear us down, and we can forgive, but that doesn't mean that we need to continue to subject ourselves to ongoing punishment in the long run. But that is the second step. The first step is to look at what role do we play? Could it be redeemed? And then second is to build some boundaries, to create some distance, because it's probably better for us for both relationships if we have some successful, healthy boundaries around that relationship. And if somebody does that with us, that we would also respect those relationships. Some relationships can be just fine with distance. We don't have to hurt each other, but they're also better off at a distance because we don't do well together, or we have a broken history or a jaded past. So this week in your faith, as you consider your important relationships, difficult or redeemable, ask that question: what could I do to redeem this relationship? Or if I need to be healthy and protect self or also protect the other person from what I'm about to do to them, look at some ways to build healthy boundaries and then communicate those boundaries so that as we do this life together, as we do this life with people, it goes a lot more the way that God invites us to do it, especially with the most difficult people in our lives.